Welcome to the Real Film Geeks. I'm Addison Lee.
And I'm Zebedee.
All right, so D23 happened, and D23, if you don't know what it is, it's kind of like Disney Comic-Con. That's where they release all of their upcoming movies, any like parks, blah, blah, blah. Pretty much anything that's Disney. And one of the things, there are actually a lot of stuff that came out. We finally heard a lot of sequels that we've heard rumors about, like, for example, the Wreck-It Ralph sequel. And it's Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. That's a little on the nose, but whatever. I'm excited. I really liked the first one. I thought it was new, even though they marketed that, oh, look, Sonic is going to be in it. Mario's going to be in it. And they're
just like tiny little cameos.
In the background. You're just like, really? Come on. Yeah. I thought I was going to see, the like real big characters, but I think the biggest character we saw was like Q*bert, probably.
He pops up a few times, but like I think there's like they have speaking parts for a bunch of characters. Like they have like Street Fighter characters in there and stuff like that. But it's not like huge.
Yeah, it was like one of the villains in Street Fighter was because they had the
villain thing,
the AA meeting or whatever villains. I know that was one of them was Bowser. Oh, Bowser was in it, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh man, I keep forgetting about
the thing. Is like I think they didn't want to make it a movie about those video game characters. Right. They just want to be like, yeah, we're acknowledging the fact that video gaming in general exists before we made this movie, so let's reference that and not just make up entirely new characters for the heck of it. In fact, they only had like 3 or 4 arcade games that they made up for the movie itself, and then the rest of them were pre-existing arcade games.
Have you ever played the actual Wreck-It Ralph game?
No.
They had an app for it, and I remember playing it for like a long time because it's. And then you start to remember how arcade games work, where you just keep going, and you're just like,
and you never get to stop.
You just keep see how far you can go. It's like, this is a really big building. Like there's no end to it. So yeah, Wreck-It Ralph 2 is happening. We saw the I don't know if they released a trailer, but they did something for Coco, which is Pixar's new film about a kid named Miguel. Why is it called Coco? Anywho, and it's kind of like he plays a guitar and ends up in the land of the dead. So it's a Day of the Dead kind of movie, which is really cool that Pixar is going, an ethnic route, playing not a white character. It's a character of Mexican descent. So that's really cool. That they're going to do something like that, and really exploring the culture of why in Spanish countries that the Day of the Dead is so important, because they celebrate death, unlike here in the States where we fear and mourn death, where some people celebrate it. So I'm excited to see that. I guess there's going to be a Frozen spinoff called Olaf's Frozen Adventure. Man, cool. We've been waiting for that one. We also got, which kind of irritates me, but at the same time it's whatever. It's the Incredibles 2 teaser trailer, which is just a bunch of famous model people, I guess.
Talking about Edna Mode.
Yeah. Are they models, or they're just...
There's models and a couple actors, I do believe.
Yeah.
And they're all just talking about the lady that makes the super suits in The Incredibles, but she also is like a model designer and stuff like that. So I'm sure in their universe she's made a bunch of really awesome modeling outfits and stuff like that. And so all of these high-end models and actresses are talking about how Edna Mode defined modeling in the late 20th century, early 21st century, and how they look up to her and stuff like that. And like using clips from The Incredibles 1. So no new clips.
No.
Just old stuff.
Of course not. And, of course, Edna Mode being played by Brad Bird, who also directed the film. And I only recognized 2 people from this thing. It was Heidi Klum, I think.
Right.
And then the famous actress from the hit Pepsi commercial, Kendall Jenner. Which, what's funny? She is like the less problematic Jenner Kardashian.
Right.
Which, I don't even... Just a sidetrack. I don't even blame her for the Pepsi commercial. Because it's not like she wrote it. She was just like, hey, I'm going to get paid to do a Pepsi commercial. So she's still the less problematic one. So yeah, unfortunately, no.
Well, we don't like the public's not getting anything new, but evidently at D23 when they showcased this, they did show some progress clips from their animation tests and stuff like that, showing I think Jack attacking a raccoon.
Oh, right.
So
Which kind of bums me out because I had a whole pitch for Incredibles 2 where it was going to be it takes place like 10 years, 20 years in the future, where it's kind of like a Kingdom Come kind of Incredibles 2 where what's his name, Dash is kind of like a lead of this younger generation of heroes, and they don't have like the same morals and values as old heroes. So Mr. Incredible and Frozone have to like come out of
retirement again.
Yeah, not a forced retirement, but like their own retirement, and then come back and like, yeah, we have to teach these whippersnappers what it's like to be an actual hero. And then of course there's a villain, but that's what I kind of wanted. That like I want to see Dash kind of be like, you old guys don't get it, we're the new heroes now or whatever.
Right.
So, and then we got some Aladdin news finally. We finally know who's going to be playing Aladdin, Jasmine, and Genie. So, Aladdin is going to be played by. Hold on, I need to find his name because I cannot pronounce it correctly. His name is Mena Soundsound. Masound?
Wow.
Masound?
Mena Masoud.
Sorry. I was reading something. I was reading it at first, and then I got sidetracked by something else. That's how ADD works, kids. Then you also got Naomi Scott is playing Jasmine. If you don't know who Naomi Scott is, she played Kimberly in the Power Rangers movie that came out earlier this year. And then Genie is played by Will Smith. Now, it's hard to think of anyone playing Genie other than Robin Williams.
I just want him to go. Hold on. I just want him to go like once. Welcome to Agrabah. Or something like that.
No. We don't want that. But I think the one good thing about Will Smith being in the role is that we are going to get a Will Smith Genie. We're not going to get like someone trying to copy Robin Williams.
Sure.
So I like that. But, and I'm also going to get into this when we talk about Lion King, I don't want them to compensate for having a black star in the movie to there be like rap. Like I don't want Genie's song like you never had a friend like me. I don't want a rap version of that. Like
right.
Just because Will Smith can rap doesn't mean I want him to rap in this movie.
God no.
Like there's like you can add that swagger to the song, but I don't need him to rap. Same, and so that's actually going to segue. So, but anyways, that's cool because was it Mena?
Yeah, Mena.
Mena is cool. He's a complete unknown of Indian descent, so he's going to be, because I think that's what Disney wanted, because they were having issues finding an actor. Apparently, they test screened like 2,000 candidates for it. Mm-hmm. So at least I like hearing that because it just shows that they're not going for the usual suspects of like, oh, you know what, let's just get Zac Efron to play Aladdin, no one will notice or whatever. So I like that they were putting in the effort and trying to find the right voice for this character, and also finding an unknown so you can actually start building up instead of saying, oh yeah, that's the guy from that one thing, so that's all I'm going to see. So now you can build a new Aladdin. So moving on, because we brought up Lion King. Not much has come from Lion King. I think they showed some clips, but I just want to bring up because Donald Glover is playing Simba,
right?
Which is amazing. Because they also announced John Oliver is playing Zazu, which I also think is a really good. That's really good casting.
Perfect casting right there.
But just like I said about Genie, just because Donald Glover, who's also known as a Childish Gambino when he raps, I don't want them to rap in this movie. I don't want them to do a I Can't Wait to Be King rap. I don't want them to do a Hakuna Matata rap. Like, just because he can rap doesn't mean I want him to rap in this movie. Sure. So that's my only fear about this, because we got to make it cool for the kids, and what do the kids like nowadays? Well, yeah, they like that hippie hop stuff. So let's do some hip hop stuff. And no. I think you'll get more hate than anything if you do that. So hopefully, but you got Jon Favreau, who I think he's one of my favorite directors. He's doing Lion King. He did Jungle Book, and there wasn't too much. Even though they changed a little bit from the original cartoon, because that's what they're basing it off of. They're not basing it from the books. They're doing the
60s.
I think even I think even 50s.
Yeah.
It's really it's weird when you realize like how old some of the Disney cartoons are. You're like,
oh, yeah, they're stupid old.
Yeah, really.
Like they're coming up on in the next 10 or 20 years, 100 years of Disney, I think.
It's nuts. So yeah, just from all that. So now we're gonna jump to the geekier side of Disney. We had Marvel Infinity War. Now, nothing has been shown to us. It's all been there, and apparently the reaction to it was insane. Like they showed a clip or a trailer. I don't know. I don't think it was a full trailer. I think it was just a clip. I heard something like Thor got thrown into the windshield of the Guardian ship. I don't know if that was a joke.
Oh, God,
I don't know if that was a joke or not. I kind of hope it's real because that sounds amazing. And it's funny because we're looking at a picture of everyone who was there. That's not even like the full cast.
Nope.
They're still missing like 10 other people. This is going to be a huge movie. And that's kind of what makes me terrified about it, because like it's fine in the comics. It's fine in the comics where there's just a million characters, because it's like, oh, you know what, Captain America didn't say a line in this comic. That's fine.
Right.
You can't do that in the movies because everyone's getting paid. You can't have someone like an Iron Man or a Captain America or even Tom Holland, who was just recently in his own Spider-Man movie. If they are top billing in a movie, you can't bring them into the same movie and have their lines like limited. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah, everyone's got to get a lot of screen time and has to have like speaking time, because one of the things with like the other Avengers movies was like it was just like the fight scenes were clip after clip of each Avenger like doing one different thing and like having like a single line that they got to say, like a one-liner, and then it goes to the next one. So that was with like 6 people or
7 maybe.
7,
I don't know.
And then this one, just from this one like cast picture, there's like 20 people.
Yeah.
So
I I think they said like the Russo brothers who are directing the film, I think they said it's going to be like a Thanos film, like he's going to be the star of it, and it's just like, and they're bringing in what's his team called, like the Black Order or something. I can't remember because I showed some concept art of Thanos and his team. I want to say it's called like the Black Order, and that once again adds another like 4 people to the mix. So this is going to be the big, like, I can't imagine there's ever going to be a bigger movie than this. That's going to have as many important characters. Like, I mean, we've seen like big, cast-driven films, but like the fact that every single person is a top billing character, even the Guardians.
right.
Because we have Dave Bautista and Karen Gillian. Is that her name? Carrie Gillian? Because I think she was in Doctor Who, and she plays Nebula in Guardians. Yeah, so she's in it, and she's also I don't want to say top billing, but a very important character. These are all important characters. This isn't like Fellowship of the Ring where you had maybe 8 people. This is like 3 times that. So I can't imagine the Russo brothers not directing after this. Like, okay, we need like 10 years off because this is just too much. So moving on from Avengers Infinity War, we had the behind the scenes of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Now, they did this before. They did this with Force Awakens and Rogue One. Now, these are really cool. Maybe not to the normal public, but to people like Zeb and I who want to work in the film industry. It's fun to see the behind the scenes. It's fun to see how the animatronics are made, because of course one of the biggest issues that everyone had with the prequels is that it was all CGI and there was barely any animatronic characters like from the old movies. And the fact that this new wave of filmmakers at Lucasfilm, they're really pushing back for the old style. Because I mean, you can't. No matter how much people love the new Star Wars movies, you can't deny that there was just too much CGI.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And of course, like we are now in this generation where fans are starting to make these movies. Like Rian Johnson was a fan of Star Wars. J.J. Abrams was a fan of Star Wars.
Huge Star Wars, Star Trek fan.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the age we're in. Like everyone who's making these movies are fans of these characters. So of course they're going to go back to the old style. And it's also kind of sad seeing this Carrie Fisher and knowing that this is going to be her last film, and not knowing how they're going to do this for Episode 9, because apparently she was supposed to have a very important role in Episode 9. She was supposed to have a big confrontation with Kylo Ren. We're not going to get that anymore, sadly. And I think another really important thing, and I want to get your thoughts on this, but it was really cool seeing the training scene with Rey, when not training in the movie, but training off set. She was fighting 3 different people with swords or staffs or whatever. Are we gonna get a Knights of Ren fight with Rey?
Oh, I have no doubt. Like this is gonna be. I hope it's not like a shot for shot, but it's gonna be the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's gonna be a scene where she has to fight them, and they either beat her senseless, or she like fights them off, or kills one of them, and they like retreat or something like that,
or Luke saves her.
Because I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like one of the big driving forces of this film, and then they come back in the last film. Because honestly, I could have seen it be like Leia versus Ren at one point, or Kylo Ren at one point, while what's her name?
Rey.
Rey fights the Knights of Ren, trying to get to her or something like that, and she defeats them, but only after Leia has been killed by Kylo or something like that.
I think that'd be kind of. I think I don't want it to be like every movie he's just killing off his. Kylo Ren's just killing off his family, like he killed his dad. Spoiler alerts. In Force Awakens, and this one he kills his mom, and then
I was talking about 9.
Oh, and 9. Okay, sorry. But
I mean, that's not going to happen now.
Yeah, so. I don't think they could. I think maybe that's where they're planning for, but I don't think they can kill her off now. I think the idea that since
they're going to kill her off, similar to how they did Leonard Nimoy in the latest Star Trek.
Or maybe they'll just do what they did in the comics and just throw a moon at her. But like, remember when they killed Chewie with the moon?
Yep.
Maybe that's what they'll do with Leia, just like, and that'll be it.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, we didn't get a whole lot from The Last Jedi. I know they might be saving a lot of other stuff for Comic-Con that's coming out. Or because we know Star Wars has been very secretive this third go around of it. They're keeping everything to the chest. Like, The Last Jedi comes out at the end of the year. Like, It feels like it's coming out next year, but just because of how very little we've heard anything about it. Because I remember, do you remember the marketing for the Force Awakens? Like, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing something Star Wars. You could go to a gas station and you'll see like Star Wars like toys. Like, it was everywhere. But this one, it's a little, because I think the whole point is that this one's a lot darker.
Right.
So they're probably not promoting too much of it. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't do that, but I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited because like we haven't seen the red logo Star Wars since Return of the Jedi, when it was originally Revenge of the Jedi.
Right.
So now that they're bringing back this red font, something's
going down in this one.
And it's really dark, and I'm loving it because I love Rian Johnson, who's writing and directing, because he also did Looper, and that was my favorite film of like, I think it was 2014. Sure. Yeah. So I'm excited to see where this movie goes. Hopefully we can get some other stuff at Comic-Con, because I want to see I just need one more trailer. That's it. I just need one trailer and I'll be good. Now, Speaking of trailers, we are going to move on because this the last portion of our show we are going to be talking about 3 trailers, and we're going to start off with A Wrinkle in Time, which they showcased at D23, and A Wrinkle in Time is based off a book. I'm trying to avoid looking at anything about the book, mostly just because I want to see the movie for what it is, because I know they changed a few things, because I know the director, Ava DuVernay, has made it more diverse than the original, because the book was made in like the 50s, I think.
Yeah, the book is pretty old.
60s. And apparently the original writer couldn't get the book picked up because I think one of the things they said, nobody wants to read about a female lead, no one wants to read about a child lead, blah blah blah. And eventually, it picked up and it became a phenomenon, and now it's a film. It's being directed by Ava DuVernay, who, if you don't know who she is, shame on you. She did Selma, which was the Martin Luther King film, and she also did this wonderful documentary called The 13th, which is, talking about the 13th Amendment and how that's kind of affected Black America since then. A great documentary. It's on Netflix. Watch it, but also you get very militant when you watch it. You kind
of get woke.
Yeah, when you watch it, you're just like, God, I hate white people. I'm so what did I just say? What? No,
where'd that come from?
Yeah, that's how you kind of feel when you watch it. But disclaimer: I don't hate white people. I'm half white, so I can't really do that. So the trailer itself is very colorful. At first, because we see Oprah Winfrey in it. We see Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kelly. She's also in it, and they had this very Hunger Games-ish look.
Right. Well, it's a look that was developed in the late '90s, early 2000s, and a lot of films similar to, basically, if you've seen a Neil Gaiman movie or book that was adapted to a film, they always use this kind of style where everything's like dresses that have like steampunk-ish stuff attached to them, or just a lot of extra extravagant glitter and stones and things like that just attached just for that just for the weird factor almost. But it's not non-functional. This isn't just weird arms attached to a dress for the heck of it. It looks as if this world, they have a different kind of style than we do. And I haven't seen a lot of films do this kind of thing in the last 5 to 10 years. It's not been a huge, style for films.
Yeah.
I think the last one I saw might have been, honestly, I think, Jupiter Ascending tried it. It tried it. And
man, everything was there for Jupiter Ascending.
Right. But it's actually kind of refreshing to see this kind of style again, because it's not the norm, know. The filmmaking here is but the Hunger Games tried it too.
Yeah.
But the Hunger Games, it was actually supposed to be like that. It wasn't just supposed to be an alternate world that has their own kind of style. It was literally, these people are crazy and hyper rich, so they're gonna just mess around with style. But with a film like this, it's people going into another world, and so to make that other world seem different, we give it a kind of strange, different style.
Exactly. And I think another thing that I'm excited about is I love adventure stories. And I think we haven't really had a good adventure story in a while, so I hope this one kind of fills that void of it. And also this in the trailer, you see a world falling apart. And my only fear is that, because these are the leads are kids, they're kids, and it's about this girl who's trying to find her dad, who is trapped by the darkness or whatever, or a darkness. I don't think that's what it's called, but it has to be believable. That's my one thing about especially YA or kid novels, when they have kids at the age of 12 fighting off something that adults couldn't do. So I kind of want it to be believable.
Yeah.
That was the one thing, because because I love the Percy Jackson series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you read the book, he's 12, and a lot of the stuff he does, you're like, I know he's a demigod, but like,
Really?
like come on,
Really?
a kid. And I think that's why they made him older in the movies, which the movies are garbage because the books are actually good, but you have to throw that that
Suspend your disbelief.
yeah, just like okay, it's a kid. Like even if you watch Harry Potter, like some of the stuff he does isn't that extravagant. Like
No, and he's also got a huge crutch via his magic wand.
exactly.
So like we can totally suspend our disbelief that he could do these things in Harry Potter because most of the physical stuff he does what a normal 12 to 15-year-old would do when it comes to running or jumping or punching somebody.
Right.
But then the magic stuff is like, yeah, it's totally believable because in this world there's magic.
Yeah.
So it's okay that he does that.
So I'm excited. Like I said, I think this might be either the biggest or the second biggest budget helmed by a female director because I think the first one was or the number one's still going to be Patty Jenkins with Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
But with Ava DuVernay doing this one, it's a huge budget, and I know the fact that they don't have a lot of women directors in Disney, along with just women, directors of color. Like I had this the hold on I'll put it up in the video. It's this graph that I've been looking at for a while, and I don't remember the year for it, but it has like all these different production companies, and it talks about the directors of female, black, and Asian directors. And if you look at Disney, so let's see, Disney right here, and then female directors, they have 5 and 0 black directors.
Yep. Out of 100 films.
Yeah, out of 100 films, there were 0 directors. And now I think this is before Ava DuVernay and Ryan Coogler were chosen to direct Black Panther and A Wrinkle in Time. So this is very important now.
Right.
And the fact that also the main lead of the story is mixed because her father's played by Chris Pine, who's the one who's lost, and then her mother's also black. So I think that's also very important that we're getting people of color in these lead roles. So I'm very excited. I think Disney's on a really good path of adapting these novels into film. Because I think another underrated one was John Carter.
John Carter was fantastic.
I love John Carter, but I think they just didn't know how to market it.
They didn't know how to market it. One of the problems with it was that it took knowing what John Carter was to want to watch it, because it was a book series in the 60s, the 80s, and then it was adapted to a comic book series in the last 10 years, which was pretty good. But the only people that knew about it and knew what it was were people that had read that, and everyone else is just like, what is this? I don't want to see this, because they didn't really understand where it came from. But it was actually fantastic.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like,
it was a great adaptation. Like, it's not a perfect adaptation by any means, but it was still a great adaptation.
Because the way I know they kind of set it up for a sequel, but I think in the grand scheme of things, they weren't looking at it as like, oh, this is going to be a franchise.
It was set up where if they wanted to, I'm sure they could have gone back and done a sequel, but it actually ends on a very good note to not go back to a sequel.
I agree. That's why, like, if they're going to do another one, I'd rather it just be a reboot instead of trying to build from where that one was. Because like you said, I thought the ending was really nice. It was a very sweet and just quiet ending. So if they ever try to do John Carter again, because what was the first book was like Princess of Mars, right?
Yeah, I don't remember the rest of the books.
Yeah, because I think it's one of those like book series that just had like
the something of Mars.
A lot of book series. Because anyways, if it's like that, but I know they're marketing it way better because I think they didn't say like it was from a. All you have to do is say it's from a book phenomenon, like this best-selling book from 50 years ago is being a movie now. Then I'm like, oh, I'm interested.
Also,
now.
A Wrinkle in Time is a book that kids end up reading in school.
Yeah.
So it's not hard to have this one. It's like Ender's Game is a book that a lot of kids read in school. This one's one that a lot of kids read in school, and so they'll know it when you make a movie out of it.
I remember when they did Holes. Like I remember, because it just so happened because we were in school and we were reading Holes at the time, and then the movie came out and we took like the entire school went to go see it. So, it's hopefully it get A Wrinkle in Time gets that kind of love, and I hope it's because it looks visually amazing.
Right.
With all the different the floating worlds, the bright colors. So hopefully it all works out because I really like Ava DuVernay as a director, and I like Chris Pine. Chris Pine for me just kind of gets better and better, and hopefully this the main lead, I can't remember her name. I hope this like launches her career and we get to see her in more stuff. So we are gonna move on to the next trailer. We're past D23. And now Warner Brothers has released the second trailer for Blade Runner 2049. I will say this. It looks cool. I have no idea what's going on. And I don't know if that's planned or just because a lot of Blade Runner stuff kind of goes over my head.
Right.
Like, I remember I watched the first one, and when it ends, I was kind of sat there just like, wait, what? Because at first I watched the commentary one.
Okay.
Or not the commentary, but
the trailer. I mean, the cinematic one, the one that was released in theaters that has Harrison Ford talking at
monologuing.
The end. God, that was so bad.
And then I watched the one without the monologue, and then you realize how like they don't talk a lot in the movie because of the monologue. Mm-hmm. So I remember when I watched it, I was just like, I feel like there was supposed to be like dialogue here, but
nope.
Anyways, so I need to watch it again. I need to watch it like because how many versions are there?
There's two, and then there's like ones that have commentary, I suppose. But no, there's the director's cut, which is the correct cut, and then there's the Harrison Ford monologue cinematic cut, which is bad.
I feel like there was like the ultimate cut, the final cut, director's cut.
They've had like a mastering or something like that. There's like a couple extra scenes in there somewhere, I think. But I don't quite remember. But all I can say is I am very excited for this film. It looks like it is taking into account a lot of what the original movie had feel-wise. The tone is still there. Mm-hmm. I love everything's in a fog the entire time. Yeah. There's so much just blank space that seems to be created to make it seem like it's all claustrophobic, like in 2050, 2049, where it takes place. There's just like pollution is so dense that you can't see more than 20 feet ahead of you, kind of thing.
Like LA.
Yeah, like LA, where it takes place. How about that? I'm very interested to see where they're going to go with the antagonist because Jared Leto's character creates replicants. He's like one of the lead designers for replicants, something like that. And the replicant that he's having hunt Ryan Gosling is what I'm pretty sure is a duplication of the chick from Blade Runner 1, the one that Harrison Ford has like a love interest with. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like one of those things where like she's not actually that person, but she looks like her, so it might like throw Harrison Ford off or something like that.
Now, doesn't this? Cause I know a lot of people took the ending of the original Blade Runner in different directions, like maybe he was a replicant or stuff like that. So this is going to kind of
this will
answer.
Yeah, this will answer that. Honestly, right now, I doubt that Harrison Ford's character actually is a replicant because he's still there, and replicants have like a 4-year lifespan. Yeah. After incept date, but we'll see. Maybe they do want to throw that one at us, but honestly, they might throw that Ryan Gosling is at us because they might actually go back to do that now. Yeah. But no, I'm very interested to see this movie because it looks very steeped in the universe that spawned it.
It's staying within the lore of Blade Runner.
Yeah, and also from what I've seen from this trailer as well, they're using set pieces all over the place. There's very light CGI. Mm-hmm. They do use some CGI, and that's okay for some of the scenes where there's like cars flying around, but that's all right.
They have to.
They have to, but when the car's on the ground, they actually have a car there. Mm-hmm. One of those flying cars. So you know what? It's cool. So yeah, no, I'm very interested in this trailer. I can't wait to see this film.
Yeah. It's like I said, Blade Runner was never really my go-to sci-fi film.
See, the thing is, it's very convoluted, but the reason for that is because it's a noir film. It's supposed to be a gumshoe, a future style gumshoe detective story, and that's what it was. One of the problems for some people was that it was still very steeped in sci-fi and had some like questions that do like kind of like go over people's heads, like why in the end does that synth not kill him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because he realizes that he is out of time and he's still a human. He like all the synths are, the replicants are just humans that are clones, that some of them have been given like great strength and memories and stuff like that, but he's also saying like my memories exist. I made my own memories, and that's why he has that spiel at the end. He's like, I've seen these things. The person whose memories I took and was implanted into me didn't see those things. I did.
Yeah.
And when I die, those memories are going to be gone, just like yours when you die. That kind of thing. Like, there's no difference between us besides I live for 4 years and you live for 70.
Yeah, it's a very thinking man's sci-fi.
Sure.
And, you know, a lot of it is, like you said, it's noir. And the thing about noir, it's mystery.
Yeah, it's
and
dark, mysterious. It like can be kind of slow, but that's only because it's trying to build up, you know, what's going to happen.
And I think, like, even though, like, it does, the original Blade Runner did get a little slow, just because that's, I mean, for me it got slow, just because that's just how my brain works. But I also appreciate the noir aspect of it because, yeah, noir is one of my favorite genres of film. Like Maltese Falcon is still like one of my favorites of all time. So I hope it stays that style because I know we are in the age of like if it's sci-fi, it has to
be
have
action.
Yeah, and
we
did
have fast movement and camera speed and stuff.
And we
like
saw
that.
a lot of action in this, so I'm hoping that's minimized.
Yeah, like maybe the trailer's just showing some of the action scenes because
part.
they know people will come to it because of that.
Yeah, because unfortunately, the title is not like Star Wars, where you just say, "Hey, Star Wars," and then everyone's gonna line up. You have to build enough that this also kind of feels like its own story. Like it's just, hey, there's this young guy who recruits an old retired Blade Runner. Now you could do this without having the original Blade Runner also. Like just from the trailers, I don't know how much from the original movie it's gonna pull. Like, oh, you have to see the original to understand this one. So, I mean, it's been almost 30 years since the original.
Yeah, just about.
So hopefully it's not pulling too much from the original, where a new audience member who's watching this one for the first time is so lost. But you should see the original.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The director's cut. Don't watch the theatrical. You'll just hear a lot of Harrison Ford talking. All right, so moving on, we're going to talk about our final trailer, which is the Fullmetal Alchemist trailer. Now, I love Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite anime that I ever watched. I love the ending of it because most anime don't end well. They just kind of
they peter off. They try to do something too big and they can't get there.
And they either just like stop or they make their villains so big that it's just like, you know what? We're done.
Yeah, no, like just ends in an instant. This is like, but
wait, what?
There's no good climax. What?
Exactly, and I think from beginning, middle, end, I think it was just such a very smooth anime.
It had a very good progression.
Yeah, and my fear is that what makes Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood so great are the comedy moments, and a lot of anime, they base a lot of their comedy on facial expressions. When they get scared, their eyes turn wide, like big white circles and whatever, and their bodies change. Like that's the comedy of an anime. You can't do that in live action.
Can't do that in live action at all.
So I'm afraid that we're going to lose a lot of that, and because that was the charm. That was the charm of Fullmetal Alchemist, was the comedy within the seriousness.
Mm-hmm.
of it. So
like them calling like Edward like short all the time.
Yeah, like
and him just getting like, I'm not short.
Like his little rants are gonna look stupid when when he's like, oh, look at this pipsqueak, and he's gonna freak out. But I will say in the trailer, his arm looks really cool.
His arm looks really cool. Alphonse's armor looks really cool.
Yeah,
like it's kind of hilarious. Like Alphonse just looks exactly like he does
in
the show.
I really thought they were going to try to modify it, but I'm just like, nope. It is straight from the anime,
from the show,
which is awesome.
I am worried that the comedy's not going to be there or not done well. Also, I'm not quite sure if from the trailer that they have Edward's character down correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's just because they haven't shown a whole lot of him in the trailer. They just because they want to introduce all the other characters as well.
Because it is a big cast.
It's a
really big cast.
So I'm also wondering, is this going to like be a 2-parter or a 3-parter, or is this like trying to do the entire story in one go?
I think it's going to be like the Rurouni Kenshin series, because they did all the Kenshin movies. They did a whole lot of them that were actually really good, and they were I think it was 3, and it was all based off of the season. So I think this might be the same concept, but like you talk, it just popped in my mind that a character that I don't want to see in this now, because again, the comedy moment, it's Major Armstrong.
Right.
Major Armstrong is the most the craziest character, because he has like a giant mustache.
He's got a huge mustache,
a bald head with like a little swirl.
He's got a very tiny little like curl at the top of his head.
And his best moments are when he rips his shirt off and flexes, and he has like little sparkles around him.
Yeah, like he's like the perfect body.
Exactly. So I can't imagine that. But just because with the trailer, we have the trailer going on in the background. Everyone looks like their anime counterparts.
Yeah.
Like maybe not Ed so much, but like when you see well, of course Alphonse, because but Mustang looks like his character. Like I was surprised how much Lust looks like the actual Lust from the anime. I'm hoping that they find a Middle Eastern guy to play Scar, because we didn't see him in the trailer.
That'd be pretty dope.
I'm hoping that they go that route, and it's I've had this conversation before, and I think even we talked about it on the podcast, but I'm surprised that Hollywood hasn't tried to do Fullmetal Alchemist, because this is one of the few anime where you can actually get away with casting, white characters in the leads, because it's based in
it's European.
It's a European nation, because the Asian inspired country is Xing, where you get like
it's more Chinese.
Yeah, you get Ling and characters like that. So that's where your Asian roots come from.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to try to bring on non-Asian actors to like supplement it. And I mean, I'm not salty that they didn't, because they have every right to make their film
the way they want it. And this is also a Japanese production, so
yeah, like there's no reason. They have every reason to have Japanese and Asian actors be those characters. But it's also kind of funny because they're all supposed to be Anglo-Saxon essentially.
Exactly, because
all of them are like not quite the right skin tone.
Because if you watch the anime and you read it, like
they're like freaking like fascist regime.
Yeah,
like
they're kind of
the main characters are from the bad nation.
Yeah, like the King Bradley is called the Fuhrer King Bradley. Like
he's not
he's
guy.
a Fuhrer.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of funny because especially the Ishval Civil War, like they
do some bad stuff.
Yeah, they do a lot of bad stuff. So I'm hoping it works out, because once again, Fullmetal Alchemist is my like. I teeter back and forth, but it's one of my favorites. Like just because it has great diversity, it has great character moments. It's not. I think it passes the Bechdel test. I'm not. No.
It's always going to be around the main dude characters. Right. It's not one that does. Kill la Kill does, but we're not going to see Kill la Kill in theaters like ever.
Oh no.
Too much cleavage. The entire show is about cleavage.
Yeah, there's apps. I mean, Japan might do it, but There's no way
we would not. Yeah, no.
But another thing, because like I said, I'm not sure which direction they're going to take this, because Fullmetal Alchemist, even though it, unlike other anime like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, where it kind of seems like they just don't end. Fullmetal Alchemist did end, but there's a whole lot in between.
Oh, yeah, it still had like 40 some episodes.
So my only fear is, like, what are they taking from it, and are they going to do like sequels? Because again, I mean, it'd be kind of cool if they saved Scar for the sequel. Like, for some reason they kind of pushed the Scar arc towards, like,
I mean, the Scar arc was in the middle of the second season,
right? But my thing is, because we see all three homunculus. You see Lust, Envy, and Gluttony, who all look really cool.
Yeah, but we are introduced to them in the first season.
Right.
That's before Scar. Like, I mean, one of them does get defeated before moving on to like the Scar arc.
Actually, I think Scar was in the first season, because
wait, yeah, he was, because he attacks and kills a few people in the first like 6 or 7 episodes,
and he also kills the Chimera, Chimera girl.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh God, I hope that's not in here, because
that might not be in it, but the other one is. The other really sad part is going to be in this one, because they have that character. They showcase that character in the trailer.
Man. But, God.
The feels train.
Here's my thing. And you know what? This part's kind of spoilers, because I want to talk about the anime real quick. I did not feel as sad for the Maze Hughes death in Brotherhood that I did in the original. I think in the original, because they had so much time to build the relationship between the Elric brothers and Major Hughes, like, you kind of understood why they
were so sad.
Exactly.
Well, the reason for that was when they did Brotherhood, they knew that everyone that had seen Brotherhood had seen Fullmetal Alchemist.
So they were
like,
down.
we'll just not do this one as much, because everyone that's seen it already knows everything that's happening here. So we can cut to the good stuff. And people that haven't seen it yet, we'll still try to make sure they know that this guy was important to them.
Right.
But we're still going to have to do this soon so that we can get to the good stuff.
Because in the first anime, which I think was 2003, when the Elric brothers stay with the Hughes family, his wife is still pregnant. And it's thanks to the brothers that, Muse has this child. So boom, there's a bond
connection
between. And when... the funeral scene in the first one, I remember because it was on Adult Swim, I was laying in bed watching it, and I just remember just bawling, like tears were just like flowing out of my eyes, just like, like this. And Brotherhood was still kind of sad,
but it didn't have the impact that the original one did.
Exactly, because you did not see it coming. I think that was the big thing. You didn't see it coming, and in Brotherhood, we're just like, just get it over with, so I don't think about it ever again.
Just rip the Band-Aid off real quick.
Exactly. So, but I think that's where we're going to end today's podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Just to let you know, we are doing our first Real Film Geeks giveaway. We are giving away a Blu-ray copy of The Fifth Element in honor of Valerian, the planet of 1,000 cities, of 1,000 planets. That's what it is.
The city of 1,000 planets.
Sorry, it makes more sense to say the planet of 1,000 cities. But whatever. So we are giving away a Blu-ray copy of The Fifth Element, directed by Luc Besson, who is doing Valerian, and we will be giving that away between today, Monday, July 17th, to Friday, which is July 21st. So to win, make sure you follow us on Instagram and like a post, and then also comment just saying, love the podcast or whatever, something like that, and we'll pick it and we'll get in contact with you, and we will send you that copy. So thank you for listening. Also, make sure you follow us on our Instagram and Twitter at Real Film Geeks. Also, follow and like our parent company, which is the Token Nerd podcast, or Token Nerd Network. So follow them on Facebook at Token Nerd, Twitter Token Nerd, Instagram Token Nerd. Thank you for listening, guys. I'm Addison Lee.
And I'm Zebedee.
Remember, shoot film, not people.